Hello, in today's video, I am going to show you how you can annotate or mark up a web page when you are using Safari as your browser. So first off, we need to make sure that we are indeed using Safari and not any of our other web browsers that may be preloaded on our iPad. The Safari one is the icon that looks like a compass. There's also the name underneath it. So go ahead and tap to open Safari. Now you can bookmark, or you can already have a web page open on your iPad. I already have one on so that we can jump right in and I can show you how to do it. So first thing, like I said, make sure you have a website that you want to go to. Then we're going to go up to the share arrow that's up here in the right corner, and we're going to tap on that. Then we're going to select Markup. And then basically what it does is it loads it as a PDF. But we have, for the specific pages that we were on, it does give you the entire page. So you can scroll all the way down and find all of the text and the images and the content. Please use 2 fingers when you need to scroll up or down on your PDF of your web page after you have selected Markup. If you use just 1 finger, it'll actually write on your page. All right, so the first thing we want to do is, you'll see down here at the bottom is we have a toolbar. And there are several annotation and writing tools in this toolbar. But the most important thing we want to check first is to click on the 3 dots over here on the far right and make sure that the draw with finger is turned on. The reason we want to make sure that this is on is because if you or your student will not exclusively be using a stylus, we just want to make sure that it will recognize the finger. So just make sure that's turned on. And mine's already on because it's green and it's slid to the right. Okay, so first things first, back to the toolbar over here. We can scroll to the left and see even more tools. As I mentioned, there are a number of writing tools. There's so many in here, I'm only going to show you a couple of them, but you definitely can go in and experiment with all of the different options that are in here. So I'm going to tap on the very first one that sort of looks like a marking pen. When I tap on it, it pops up a little bit higher than all the other tools in the toolbar. That way you know that when it's popped up, that is the one that it is selected. That is the one that you would be using if you wanted to go ahead and start writing on your web page. Once you tap it, that same tool, a second time, it pulls up some options for you. Now you can go in and you can change the thickness of the mark, basically, that it'll make. You can also adjust the opacity or the transparency of that writing. You can also go over to the right and you can change the color. So I can make it blue, make it red. I can also tap on the rainbow circle, which is that one right there, and it'll pull up an entire palette of colors, and you can go through the different ways that you can change the color, and you could select one that already isn't showing up by default. So if I wanted to write in purple, I could pick that. And then you can also notice that that same tool that I had selected, that I had changed, has now changed here in my toolbar. Another thing that you can use in the toolbar that you might find helpful is a highlighter, which is so nice. I'm definitely somebody who likes to highlight. You can do the same thing. As a reminder, when you tap on it once, it does pop up above the other tools. That is the selected tool. But now we can go in and even change the thickness of my highlighter. And again, the opacity. By default, it's the slider is down a little bit to the left so that when you highlight text, you can still see the text through the highlight, but you can even change the color of your highlighter as well. Now I'm going to use my 2 fingers, as I mentioned. Oh, see, and they're marked because it recognized it just as 1. If you accidentally mark, there is an undo arrow over here. So I'm just going to do that. I'm going to go ahead and use my 2 fingers to scroll down my page. Make sure my highlighter is selected. I am using a stylus. Well, actually, I'm going to do it with my finger first. So I can go in here and just highlight it. That is with my finger. And now I've grabbed my stylus and I'm going to go down here and highlight text. So that is just a really neat thing if you or your students need to remember certain text, or you're making notes and you're somebody who likes to highlight to help you remember content. So scrolling back up here with my 2 fingers, I'm going to go back to that first tool that I was talking about, one of the writing ones. Actually, I lied. I'm going to pick my favorite, so I'm going to use the slider to slide to the left, and there is a fountain pen, which is really neat because it just writes really, really nice. And I'm going to use my stylus and directly write on the page. So there, and you can do this anywhere on this PDF of your web page. You could scroll down a little bit. I might want to circle something. I might want to make notes over in the margin for some reason, or star something, or use an arrow to point something specific out. So honestly, the sky's the limit on how you can annotate or mark up a web page for whatever purposes that you need. Now, as you saw before, when I was trying to scroll, it must have recognized just 1 finger, so it did make a mark. So if you go back over to the toolbar and slide it back over to the right, there is an eraser, which is the one that I just tapped on. And when you tap on that, you can even change the size of the eraser, which is great for somebody like me, who doesn't want to spend a lot of time making teeny tiny little eraser marks. As a pixel, it will just, you have to kind of do the thing where you kind of rub or scrub, kind of like a traditional eraser on a piece of paper, or I can go in and select object, and then I can just tap on my mark where I marked up, and it erases the entire thing. It'll even undo your highlights, which is just really neat. I really like this. That's what you'll hear me say, that it's just really neat and it's just really, really cool. Going back to the toolbar down here, there's even a ruler. I tapped on the toolbar. You could see that it dropped a ruler down on my page, and you can use 2 fingers to rotate it. So if you want it straight across at 0 degrees and you want students to then, you would then go in and select a writing tool, and you can use the 2 fingers to move the ruler. And you could have students, or you could do it yourself, where you underline specific text. You want to make a nice straight line. Or for some reason, if you need one on an angle. And the ruler works with any of the writing tools that are in the toolbar. This one to the left of it is a selection tool. So, and to get the ruler to disappear, you just tap on it again, and then it goes away. The selection tool, which is the one right here with the diagonal lines kind of on the tip there, would allow you to go and select any of the markups you have made, to the PDF web page. So if I wanted to go in, for instance, and let's say, so I'm writing on it right now with the selection tool. I circled that text that I wrote in, and now if I wanted to, I could actually move that entire group, or you could even do just a word. You can move that to a different spot on your web page. You could also do that with highlight as well. So if I've highlighted that entire paragraph, I can go back to the selection tool. I can circle around it. It selects all of that. You can tell then because it makes a box. And then I don't know why you would necessarily want to move highlight, but you can then do that as well. So that's a really cool additional tool that's available in your toolbar that you can use. So do take some time and experiment with all of the tools that are down here. This plus sign here actually allows you to add stickers or text, a signature, or even a shape. So if you don't want to write and you want to type in text, you can add a text box. And you can go in and type text in there as well. And when you have the text box selected, you'll see because it has the blue dots inside, you can tap that, and you can even go in and change the size and the font and the color. Now, when you're all done marking up, you can go to Done, tap on the Done that's in the upper right-hand corner, and you can either delete it, which is the bottom one, but if you want to make sure that you need to save it for some reason, tap the first option, the Save File To, and then it'll load up where the location where you can save your file. Always save everything to your OneDrive, which is there on the left side. So select that. It will make you select a folder, because if you don't select a folder, then the save doesn't show up. It doesn't let you save. So go in there, then come down to the bottom, give your file a name, because by default, it just gives you the browser, the date, and the time. So I'm just going to call mine a test file. And then once you have entered in a name, selected OneDrive, and then I selected my folder named File, typed in a name at the bottom, and then you will go up to the right and tap Save. And that's it. So I hope you enjoy experimenting with the annotation tools using Safari as your browser.